Coffee hits the counter. Wet spot on your sleeve. That's all it was. But something shifted, and it didn't shift back for hours. And by the time you said you were angry, the loop had already run 4 stages: trigger, meaning, replay, reaction. Most people try to stop it at the end. You can catch it earlier, at the story your mind built in that first second. Catch that story before it takes the morning with it. Counter is clean. The mood is still there. You moved on, you cleaned it up, you kept going. But the morning isn't over, it's just moved rooms. 2 hours later, you're in a meeting. Different room. Same feeling. Your face is present. But the morning is still sitting in your chest. The mug itself was nothing. What landed was what it seemed to say about how the morning was going. You told yourself it was nothing. That should be enough. It isn't. By the time you tried to drop it, it already had momentum. You can catch it. 3 moves. Pause, name the story, choose. So what exactly keeps running after the trigger is gone? The loop has 4 stages. They all run inside the first few seconds. Trigger is the mug. 1 second. Coffee on the counter. That's the whole event. Small, physical, over before it fully registered. Then the meaning. Your mind labels it before you decide anything. The spill gets filed under things going wrong. The line writes itself. You didn't choose it. It lands before you argue with it. This is going to be one of those days. You didn't say that out loud. Your mind wrote it in the background without asking. Then the replay. The mug is gone. The story stays open. You're in the car running through what happened, not on purpose. Your attention keeps touching the same mark, checking once more, adding the next small thing. The late email gets pulled into the same story. The person who didn't say good morning, the call you've been putting off. By the 3rd pass, the whole morning is wearing the same label. Everything starts to look like proof. Your attention keeps collecting the same kind of thing. Then the reaction. Not the spill anymore. The mood that follows is not really about the mug. The mug was 30 seconds. This is the weight of every pass after it. You snap at someone who asked a normal question. Your answer is shorter than it needed to be. The reaction is big. The trigger was small. The coffee is cleaned up. The story is still running. You don't get a warning. The mind doesn't wait for you to decide what the trigger means. It decides first. The mug tips. Coffee hits the counter. 10 seconds of event. Before you formed a thought about it, your mind has already given it a name. You didn't write the sentence. Your brain wrote it, fast, without asking. The meaning and the event arrive so close together, they feel like one thing. The trigger felt like the cause. The story was what actually kept going. That's why most people aim at the reaction. By the time you notice the mood, the story has been running for 2 hours. You're working on the wrong stage. 10 seconds of event. The morning paid for it. But the spill happened. The verdict was yours. The event was 5 seconds. Wet counter, wet sleeve. The story that followed was not part of the event. Your mind added it. And once it's added, the event and the story are hard to pull apart. That's why the trigger feels bigger than it is. The event is small. What you're carrying for the rest of the morning is the story. The story isn't the truth about what happened. It's the first reading. You can question that reading. When you see the story as a reading, not a fact, it loses some of its grip. The story hasn't hardened yet. There's a gap under a second. before the replay starts, before you've gone back to it 3 times, before other things got pulled in. In that gap, the story is still just a draft. You can't rewrite it after it's been running for an hour, but you can catch it here. That's the first place you can reach it. 3 steps, starting from the moment the trigger hits. Step 1. Pause. Not a technique, not a breathing exercise, 1 beat. The trigger hit, you didn't move yet. That 1 beat is the difference between the story running and you seeing the story start. Why it works. The replay hasn't started yet. You're still in the gap. That beat is the moment before the label locks in, before the morning has been stamped with anything. When you pause, you're in the window before the story takes over. Step 2. Name the story. Say it plainly, out loud or in your head, it doesn't matter. I told myself this was going to be a bad day. I told myself I can't get anything right this morning. Find the sentence under the mood. Ask what your mind just decided this means. Why it works. A feeling is hard to question. A sentence is easier. Once the mood has words, it can be looked at. When you look at it, it's a reading, not a verdict. Was a spill, not a verdict on the day. Step 3. Choose the response. Pick the response that fits what actually happened, not the story around it. The counter is wet. Clean it up. Get to work. The spill gets 5 minutes, not the whole morning. Why it works. The story needs your full attention to keep running. When the response matches the size of what actually happened, the story has less to feed on. It doesn't hold at the same intensity. Pause without a next move is just hesitation. Knowing you should catch it and having a practiced move are 2 different things. The first few times, you'll catch it 5 minutes after the trigger. That's still earlier than the reaction. Earlier is the job. Back to the kitchen. Coffee on the counter. Same moment. Pause, 1 beat. The label is starting to form. You see it start. Name the story. My mind said the day was already off. To choose, clean it up, get to work. The counter is still wet, but the problem is the size of the counter, not the size of the day. You don't need to feel good about the spill. You need the next hour back. The mug tipped. The morning kept going. The trigger burns out fast. The story is what keeps asking for more time. And the story starts in that first second, before you've moved, before you've said a word. Next time something small goes sideways, before you keep moving, name the sentence your mind wrote. The mug didn't take the morning. The story tried to. I break down 1 everyday loop like this each week. At 10 at night, when the work is done and the mind still won't slow down, the same engine runs. Different room, same loop. That one's next.